And welcome to today's session on remote data access, formerly known as Sage Drive. Today we're going to learn about the process about how remote data access works and how to set it up. So we're not going to be doing any troubleshooting today, we're just focusing on the introduction to the feature. My name is Abby and I'm going to be your host for today. It is just going to be me, so I'm going to be hosting and I'm going to be answering the questions, so do please bear with me on that front. Before we start the session, I just want to go through some housekeeping. So when you join, you will see that you'll be placed on mute automatically. If you want to ask any questions, you can just use the questions panel down the right-hand side. It's just that little speech bubble icon with the question mark in the middle. If you want to download today's handout, which we always recommend that we do, just that little icon with the document with the folded corner. We always recommend to download the handout live on the session as it won't be available afterwards. Just a reminder as well, this webinar is going to be recorded, just like every session, and links to register for future webinars and recordings will be in your follow-up email as well, and you'll get that around an hour after the session has ended. Today's going to last approximately 45 minutes. Just depends on how many questions we have outstanding at the end. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering on today's session. So we're going to start with what is remote data access? What are the RDA requirements? Things to consider, scenarios, and then we'll cover the setup process of remote data access using video demonstration. And then towards the end, we'll go through some FAQs and we'll go through a summary of today's session. Now, I just want to launch a poll on your screen there. And I'm just wanting to know, do you currently use remote data access? So it's a very simple yes, no, I choose not to, no, I don't know what it is. So you can pop your answer in there for me. What we usually do is we wait till we get around 70–75% and then I'll share the results with you as well. I can see those votes are coming in nice and quickly, so let's give it a little bit longer for those of you who haven't yet voted. Okay, we've got around 75% there, so I'll just share those results. So as you can see, 33% of you have said yes, and 67% of you have said no. I don't know what it is. So hopefully by the end of that of the session, you should feel a bit more confident with the remote data access process. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll move on to the next section. So we're going to talk a little bit about connected services. So some of you may not know, what connected services are, or how to use them and things like that. So the main thing with remote data access is that you need to have a Sage account to be connected. So you may already have a Sage account without even realizing it. So in cases where you'll might have a Sage Copilot, so you might already have a Sage account connected. You've got invoice finance, invoice payments, AI document capture, bank feeds, remote data access, and also Satago as well. And also as well, it might be that you're not using connected services at this moment, but you might have access to MySage. So you may access your Sage invoices online. Now today we're going to focus on remote data access. If you do wish to find out about any more about these apps and add-ons, On the navigation bar of your software down the left-hand side, in your software, it'll be the second one from the top. Now, a Sage account, there's a lot of confusion between your Sage account and your username, like in your logon name when you might use them. So your Sage account window is going to be the one on the left, and it's going to ask you for an email address and password combination. So this is where you'll be using this to log into MySage for your invoices, or if you have those additional apps and add-ons, you may be asked to authenticate. So for example, like bank feeds or something like that. Additionally, as well, in the later versions, when you get access to Sage Copilot, you will log in with your Sage ID, your Sage account. Whereas the one on the right, which is the normal logon screen, and that's where you'd pop in a username and password combination. So if you're not using any connected services at this time, you're not using Sage Copilot, then you will log in normally with your username and password. Okay, so what is remote data access? So it was formerly known as Sage Drive, and it was introduced in version 21 and is now known as Remote Data Access, RDA for short. This feature enables you to share your data securely via the cloud, giving you and other users freedom to work from anywhere with an internet connection and Sage 50 accounts installed on the computer. It's available in version 27 and above. All variants have access, and it is included in your subscription. Now, one key thing to note is that RDA does not permanently store your data, and you must be still taking regular backups of your data. So it's not a cloud solution to store your data. All it does is it syncs between locations. So please make sure that you are still doing your regular backups, whether they're daily, you might do them multiple times a day, you might do them maybe a couple of times a week, depending on how much you process. But please do make sure that you're still taking your regular backups. So the RDA requirements. So as I've already mentioned, you need to be in version 27 and above. Software needs to be installed locally on each machine. All users must be on the same version and build. If you're not sure how to find this, you can go to Help along the top and then into About. If it's a new install on each machine, you need to have the license information. Again, obviously, if there's an installation already existing on another computer, you can get that from going to Help and About again, and you'll find your license information in there. All computers must meet the system requirements, and you must have a minimum internet speed of 4 try and get this right, Mbps download and 2 Mbps upload. For the best results, we do recommend that you have a wired connection where possible. And lastly, you must have a Sage account, and that's for all users. Now, if you need to check all the RDA requirements, if you have the handout downloaded, you will be able to click on the RDA requirements button in the top right there, and it will take you to the relevant article. I have also included a speed test. A speed test will need to be done at each site that you plan on using remote data access at. So things to consider before setting up remote data access. So you want to check the volume of your data, and you can do this by going to Help, and then into About, and then under Data Information. You want to be checking the number of splits that you have. Now, splits are the number of transactions that you have in the Transactions module. We recommend that you have fewer than 250,000, but you also want to be checking the number of invoices and orders and other records as well. There is a link to the article in the bottom right there. You can see data limits, and that's going to tell you how you can check what your data is at. Now, although I did say, recommended fewer than 250,000, your software is not going to stop working once you get to 250,000, but you may find reduced performance the more data you have in the software. Make sure you're checking those internet speeds at each individual site, as you are only as strong as your weakest connection. And lastly, majority of your data will sync, but there are a few things that don't, such as archives, memo attachments, and standard layouts, as everyone will have a copy of those as standard. However, if you have renamed a customized layout or report that is the same name as a standard default, such as the goods delivery note, then it will not sync and will have to be shared manually. If you do require more information on what we have just discussed on this section, I have included the which file sync as well in the bottom right of your handout. Okay, so let's get into the scenarios here. So prior to using remote data access, you may have had to share your data with an accountant. It may have looked a little something like this. So Joe will process invoices in the top left there. He would then take up a backup and share this with his accountant, Sarah. Sarah would then restore that backup into her own software and process the relevant adjustments. Now, whilst all of this is happening, Joe would not be able to process, as when he gets the backup from Sarah, it will then overwrite his current data. Using remote data access allows you to work concurrently without that back and forth, one processing and then the other. So let's take a look at some common scenarios. So here is the same scenario I've just shown you. It's the same as the manual data sharing, but we're using remote data access. So Joe is in the office and his accountant is external in her own office and using remote data access. Joe can continue processing those invoices whilst his accountant is adding those adjustments. When you have a one user license, as long as you set up your accountant with the right user type, they do not count towards your users logged in. Scenario 2. So let's just say here Joe has a one user license. He has a computer at home, computer in the office and a laptop or a computer at home. So instead of taking a backup in the office and carrying that USB home and then restoring it into the computer at home, he can have Sage installed on a second machine, and using remote data access, all he has to do is log into his data and everything he has processed in the office will have then synchronized to his home computer. So let's take a look at scenario 3. Again, if you're having any questions about these scenarios, please do pop them into the questions panel down the right hand side so I can pick these up for you. So scenario 3, you might have a scenario where one person is in the office, one person is at home, and then you have another in a different location. So example, we've still got Sarah the accountant here. So each person in this situation is classed as a remote site. But a big process such as year end or clear audit trail can be done at any location as long as you are on version 28 or above. If you currently only have a one user license but would like more people working concurrently, then you can contact our support team to upgrade your license. Okay, so lastly, scenario 4, and this is where we have a server involved. So now you have Joe and Marie in the office, but they are networked by a server. Although they are two separate computers, two separate users, because they are working from the same data location, which is the server, they class as one site. If you have a server set up, then we would recommend to set up remote data access from that location first. You would then only apply remote data access to Joe and Marie user record if they had another machine at a different location and needed to connect remotely. So for example, if again, Joe might work from home sometime, so he might have another machine at home. Okay, so let's go through some demonstration. So we're going to go through the demonstration of setting up remote data access, adding additional users, and then connecting to the data remotely. So firstly, we're going to set up remote data access from Joe's location. So let's take a look at the first demonstration of how to set this up and see what it looks like.
Once you've checked the system requirements and internet speeds of all required machines, you can set up remote data access. Log in as manager and check your software version by going to Help, then About. The version number is listed in the program details area, and all users must have the same version installed. Next, you should take a backup. To do this, open the File menu and click Backup. Select the files that you want to back up, amend the file name and choose the location by clicking Browse. To continue, click OK. A check data prompt will appear. We recommend that you do this every time. If any errors are reported, these must be fixed before you continue. To continue with the remote data access setup, you must link a Sage account to the company. To do this, navigate to Settings, User Management, and click Users. Manager will be highlighted by default, then click Edit. If remote data access has been set up in the past, Allow remote data access checkbox will be available to select. If not, click Get Started Now with your Sage account. To find out more, click here. To continue with the setup, click Continue. Enter the name of the person who is going to be the data owner, preferably someone in a permanent position within the company. Additional information is available here. Once completed, click to confirm you are the right person. Next, check your company details. All mandatory information is marked with an asterisk. To continue, click here. Next, log into your Sage account. If you already have a Sage login, enter the details here and click Login. If you don't have one, create a new account using the link provided. Enter the email address you want to be assigned to the manager user, the name of the person you have assigned the data owner, and a password. Once you are happy with the information entered, click Sign Up. You'll receive a 6-digit code to your email. You can enter this here. Your Sage account is now connected. To close this message, click here. The Remote Data Access checkbox is now available to select. To complete the setup, select Allow the Remote Data Access checkbox and click Continue. You're then prompted to create an encryption passphrase. This is an extra layer of security, and all remote users will need this information when attempting to connect to your data. The passphrase must include a capital letter, a lowercase letter, and must be a minimum of 15 characters. To view the passcode at any time, follow the steps provided here. To complete the process and upload your data to the cloud, click Save. How long this will take will depend on the size of your data and internet speed. Once complete, Remote Data Access appears on your status bar.
Okay, so now we've linked the Sage account to the company and uploaded the data. Now, any remote data access, with the changes, it will then synchronize from his Sage software and then sync to the cloud. And any changes will be made by other users will also then reflect on Joe's machine. So next, we're going to demonstrate how to give remote data access to Louise's user record. So we'll do the next video demonstration, but again, if you do have any questions, do pop them across. We haven't had any as of yet, so hopefully that means that I'm doing my job correctly. I'll be back with you in just a moment.
In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to add remote data access users. To get started, log in as manager. From the settings menu, choose User Management, then click Users. You can add remote data access to an existing user, or if the user does not appear on your list, you can set up a new one. For the purpose of this demonstration, we'll edit an existing user. Highlight the relevant one on the list and click Edit. Navigate to Remote Data Access and select the checkbox to allow remote data access. Enter the required details for your user. Please note, a unique email address must be entered for each user. To move on to the next step, click Continue. When the summary page appears, check the information is correct, then click Save. An email is automatically sent to the email address entered. This contains a step-by-step guide on how to connect your Sage 50 accounts data remotely. You must provide all remote data access users with the passphrase that you created when you set up remote data access. For security purposes, you must send this separately.
Okay, so you can see how quick and easy it is to set up another user with those details. Now, as Louise, we want to now download the company to our machine. So let's take a look at the last video demonstration on how to connect remotely.
We'll now demonstrate how to connect to Sage 50 accounts using remote data access. Before attempting to connect to your data remotely, ensure you have the relevant information to hand. You'll need your user logon name and password, the email address that has been applied to your user record, and the encryption passphrase. To connect remotely, open Sage 50 accounts and then click Add Company. Next, you'll see 4 setup options. Click Download. If you wish to change the location your data is saved to, click Change and follow the on-screen steps. To move on to the next step, click Continue. You are then presented with a set of instructions explaining the next steps. Click OK and log into your Sage account. If you don't have one, simply click to create an account and follow the prompts. Once logged in, you'll see the companies associated with your Sage account with more information about each one, such as the version of the data, who the data owner is, and if required, use the icon to view the company ID, which you can cross-reference with other users to check that it is the right version to download. Select the company you'd like to connect to, then click Next. Enter the encryption passphrase and click Continue. Finally, click Download. A progress bar appears while a copy of your Sage account's data downloads to your computer. Once complete, you'll be prompted to log in to Sage accounts using your logon name and password. Once you are logged in, your remote data access status is confirmed in the status bar along the bottom. Sage 50 Accounts is now connected using remote data access, and you can now start the process as usual.
Okay, so once that company is downloaded, Louise can log in, start the process and make any changes straight away, and it will then sync those changes back up to the cloud and reflect on Joe's machine in real time. So that is remote data access broken down into 3 steps: upload, add access, and connect remotely. If you wish to rewatch the videos we have shown today, you will receive a link to the recording of the whole webinar in your follow-up email. Alternatively, we do have resources online on our help centre as well. I'm just going to give you the last opportunity now to get your questions in before we wrap up the session. Just while I wait for any further questions, I'll go through some FAQs. So first question is, will the data be stored in the cloud? Only temporarily, so it can sync between different locations. You must remember to take regular backups of your data. Can I use this on a tablet? No, you must have a copy of the Sage 50 accounts installed on a compatible machine. Can I use RDA to replace my server? We recommend to use server connection where possible, as this will be quicker. You can still use RDA alongside server connections for those in other locations. Okay, so to summarize, it enables you to access your data from any location with an internet connection and the software installed locally on each PC. All variants have access. It's included in your subscription. Each user must have a unique email address, and you need to ensure that you are taking regular backups. Now, we have plenty of resources on our help centre. Down the right-hand side, I have included the link to the Remote Data Access Hub, and also as well backing up your data, because that is very important. So I want to show you as well on the homepage of the Help Centre. I'll show you where you can find that hub as well. So if you scroll down, what you need help with today, this is option here, run your accounts remotely. In here, you'll find what is RDA, working from home, step 1, step 2, step 3, which is what we've covered today. There's plenty of information as well, so adding and managing users and common queries there as well. Okay, so I just want to launch another poll on your screen. Now you've attended today's session, I just want to know, are you likely to use remote data access? So just a very simple, just same answers as before. So yes, no, or still unsure. If you are unsure, pop in the chat what your concerns are. I might be able to pop you in the right direction. So you pop your answers in for me. Again, we'll wait until we get around 70, 75%, and then I'll share those results with you as well. Like I say, don't feel pressured with this as well. It might not work for everybody, especially if the internet connection isn't great, which is fine as well. Okay, so we've nearly got 70%. Let's give it a little bit longer. Okay, we've got around 70% there, so I'll just share those results with you. So as you can see, we've got 75% of you have said yes, and then we've got 25% of you have said no. That's absolutely fine. So what we'll do now is we'll just pop back to my slides. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session. We haven't had any questions come through as of yet, so if you want to, if you've got what you need today, you want to leave the session, you will receive an email in around an hour or so with links to both our webinar schedule and today's recorded session for you to refer back to if needs be. Upon exiting the session, you will see a survey at the end. If you could please let me know any feedback regarding today's session, how you thought I did, what you liked, what you would like to have seen. I always like to look at every single comment on there and how we can improve our sessions in the future. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll give you some time back. So you've got about 15 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll wrap this session up. I want to say thank you to you all for your participation today. And just a reminder, we've got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks. So don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.